Hi, Wache. Welcome to Indigenous Insights, Facebook Live from the Royal Ontario Museum. My name is Jo, and today we're going to be talking about baby carriers. And so in my language, where I come from in Swampy Cree territory, we call them Tikanagans. And actually the Anishinaabe people in Northern Ontario use the same word. And so we're going to look at some Tikanagans from Ontario, and Anishinaabe and Ojibwe and Cree territory. And then we're also going to look at some moss bags, which are the versions where they're not on a board, and they're more for infants. So we're going to start over here. Come back. All right. So this is from the 1880s, and so this is just a frame. So this shows the Tikanagan frame, and we're not really sure where it is because Edmund Morris collected it as he was coming and going. So, but we do know it's a Tikanagan. So you can see at the base that where the foot, it gives security for the feet. The cloth is not on it. But what I love about this is the back. And so we're going to ask Tracy to lift it up so that we can see it. And you can see this beautiful carved work in there, and it's been painted, and it's just really, it's just stunning work. These baby carriers were very functional, but they were often decorated in different ways. So this one is carved and painted, and it looks very religious to me. I'm not sure. It's a dove, and it looks almost like a chalice, but I'm not sure. You can ask. We can find out what that symbology means, but it looks very Christian oriented to me. But yeah, so I just wanted to show that because it's just stunning, right? And then we'll go to this one over here. Thanks, Tracy. And this is typically what we'd see now if it's not cloth. It is the beaded work of the Anishinaabe, and so that's Northern Ontario. So it's on the board. The hoop is not here because this beadwork is really nice. And it's on corduroy, so this is like in mid-20th century, so 1950s, 1960s, Big Trout Lake area, so Anishinaabe, Ojibwe territory, which is in far northern Ontario. You can look on Google Maps. Or you can look at the new Indigenous Atlas from Canadian National Geographic, super awesome. So I just love the colors in here. Like there's a really beautiful contrast between the dark and the white beadwork. And then you can see that they've used caribou hide. I'm going to assume it's caribou hide because it is in Northern Ontario, and that's the main animal that we would be hunting out there. And so beautiful zigzag design in terms of how that's put together and how that looks. And then there's a nice trim as well along the bottom of the hide. So it's nice. Sure, if you want to show it up. So this size, oh yeah, that's right. So I also wanted to show the back. And so this is with wool, and so this is woven, and so this would be carried that way. I wanted to show this too because a lot of mittens and things that you would carry would be woven with this wool. And so when I first saw this, I was really excited by that because it reminded me of my childhood and how we had our woven mitts and stuff like that on there. So that's good. All right. So over here, first I'm going to just point this out. This is an older frame as well from the late 1800s, early 1900s. I just wanted to show it because it actually shows the wooden frame in here that you don't see on the first one. And so this is actually much more secure, and the fabric would be around there, and so the baby is secure this way and side to side, right? And so in here, I don't know, it's just really nice. So, and there's the hoop, which keeps baby safe, and so that's another Tikanagan frame. Over here, if you can come a little bit closer, come on over. So this is a toy a toy Tikanagan, probably put on display, and so it was purchased by a Hudson Bay factor. So a factor is basically the name of a manager of a Hudson Bay company trading post. And so he purchased it in the Thunder Bay area in the 1880s, 1870s, something like that, 1880. And so in the Thunder Bay area, he's purchased this for his wife, and then it went through family channels, and I think the grandchildren brought it to the realm. So just the work that went into this toy, like it's really ornate, right? So you have the beautiful beadwork, and you even have the, it could have been moose there because it is Thunder Bay area. In the modeling you see it's the same kind of hoop, and even on this one here you see the carving of the heart here for the air and also for lifting. It's present there as well. And so a lot of work went into this small Tikanagan, which it's not functional, it's just a decoration. And so at that time, Anishinaabe, Cree, and even down here, Haudenosaunee peoples were creating these crafts as a form of income and to get money from tourists and from locals who wanted to buy these things. So, you know, that's pretty awesome. All right, so now we're gonna move over here, and this is, although it's very long, like this is a Waspasoyan. So Waspasoyan in Cree loosely translates, one of the translations, there are many ways that the words get put together. It loosely translates into moss bag. And so the moss bag is called that because sphagnum moss would be used instead of a diaper, so they would wrap that around the baby with a cloth, and it would be put in there, and also in between to give comfort and stability between the legs of the baby too. It would be in there, and so you would use these when they're an infant. So this one's pretty old, pretty worn. I'm not sure, like it's not too old, like it's from the 60s maybe, 50s. But it's been very used and very worn, so lots of baby loving happening in here. So the one over here, super decorated, super beautiful. Used a nice, it's velvet, right? Nice velvet, and then has this really interesting beadwork, which is really different from a lot of the beadwork that I've seen, just in that there's more spacing in there. And maybe that they did that in an artistic form because it was a beautiful velvet underneath, but usually you don't see like the holes and the spacing and the way that it's beaded, so I find that really fascinating. So this size of Waspasoyan really is for an infant, and so probably if it was used and not just for display, the baby probably could be too big for it by the time they were 2 months old, right? So this is just very much for an infant. If you do have any questions and you want to find out things later, you can leave it in the comments and we will eventually get back to you. Okay, so this one, they're not too sure, but we're assuming it's Anishinaabe or Ontario anyway, although the beadwork kind of makes me think it might be Haudenosaunee. Not sure. Okay, so now I'm going to show you interactive stuff that we can actually touch. So I'm going to take these gloves off because they're driving me crazy. All right. Okay, so this Tikanagan is a Tikanagan that my mom made for me to use when I had my daughter. Okay, so this is Swampy Cree style, and so, woo! All right. So this is what it looks like if we just stand it up. I have these little decorations on it because I usually have this in the gallery with me, and then I can show it to people, because in the museum people are separated by a glass and they can't touch artifacts, right, or ancestral objects and objects in the museum. So this one I bring in so that people can actually interact with it. And so I'm gonna, if you want to come a little bit closer, I'm going to open it up, and I want to show how easy it is to tie this and untie this. So you'll notice, I don't know if you know anything about knots, but it's just a slip knot. So You gotta look because it happens really fast. There you go. It's already unknotted, right? So then you're just going down the middle. You know, as a mother or any parent, you don't have a lot of time to mess with a complicated tying system. So this one ends in the middle in case you want to have your baby's arms free, and when you want them to sleep, you tie it right up. So then this is the lower one. As you can see, you can do this really fast because you know, maybe baby's crying and you need to get them out quickly. So nice, easy, quickly. So look in here, and so my friend Rosie makes these. She has a Facebook page, to give you a little plug. It's called Moss Bags, look it up. She actually makes moss bags that you can actually buy, so anyway. All right, so this is a moss bag. That was actually my son's. He's 14 years old now, and he's 6 foot tall, just over 6 feet. He doesn't fit here anymore. Maybe 1 foot can fit in here. My Aunt Agnes Hunter, who lives in Pewanik, she made this for him. And so she had the cloth. It's pretty simple design, this one, and then it's the caribou hide is used to tie it up. So just put that there. And so then this is my daughter's moss bag. She's 12 years old now. She's not tall as 6 feet, but anyway, she's precocious. And so this is hers, and I have, oh, where did it go? All right. And because we live in Northern Ontario, we've been influenced by the Hudson Bay Company for 400 years, right? And so we've absorbed some of their culture into our culture, and so we make these little bonnets. And so my mom made this little bonnet to match, right? And so you see a little air hole in there. And so that's really nice. So my aunt made, my sons and my mom made the moss bag. These are really convenient for newborns. The newborns love to be swaddled, and so it was easy to wrap them in there, and they could have a nap, and then I could have a nap on the couch, right? So I'm just gonna put this back in just to show you how quickly that you can actually tie these up. And you know, baby might be wiggling their legs right now, and then you just tell them some jokes. Hey, not really, right? So tuck in on one side, and then you tuck them in on this side. And so I'm putting it inside the wood frame. So if you remember from the other one, there's a wood frame there. Just tucking it in there so it's nice and stable. And then usually you just go back and forth just with the one, right? Pretty easy. Now the baby's used to this feeling, right? And so now they start to settle a little bit. Unless they're like high energy, then they're kicking, and you know, then you gotta get creative. Start singing songs. So again, so this is really easy knot. So you just go and pull that through, and then you just pull it tight, and that's the knot. It's secure. So we're gonna tie this right up because I want to show you how it functions in terms of why would you put your baby in here. So this would be for carrying, but you wouldn't want to carry this too far. Generally, if you're traveling, you would travel with a sled, even if you're walking, or on a snowmobile, or with dog sled back in the day, right? And this would be on the sled, so you wouldn't have to carry these, because they can get really heavy, right? Babies can be heavy, but carrying the wood can be heavy too, right? So this is more for keeping the baby safe. So I'm gonna back up a little bit, so camera person, I'm gonna actually put it like this, right? So what you would do, and what people do now, right? So you can have your baby lying there, sitting in there, while you're up, and you lean them up against the tree or the couch or the picnic table, and now baby's safe, right? You can go around, you know, you can make your bannock, or, you know, put the goose on the stick over the fire. You can build the fire, right? And baby's safe. You don't have to worry about them crawling and getting into something that might hurt them. So at the same time too, they're observing. Now they're watching, right? And so they can see how the world works. So now I just want to draw your attention to the hoop. And the hoop is really important. So the hoop, you know, there's some minor things that are useful, right? You can hang toys off of there. So I have a dream catcher on there, and I have these really cute little mitts. They're not like to be worn. They're like tourist mitts, right? But they're so cute, and people like to look at them. So I put that on there, and then if it's sunny or windy or even raining a little bit, you can cover it, right? So that's useful there. My son did not like the sun at all. But the most important thing is this is for safety, so that if it tips over, right, baby is safe, and you don't have to worry unless you put it near the fire. But we're not going to do that because we're going to be good parents, right? Right. So yeah. So this is for safety, for keeping the safety, so that people don't bump into it. But most important, if it falls over, baby's safe. Baby might cry because they're startled, but generally it's a major safety feature. So for any baby carriers, and they have different designs, right? So some are like nicely curved, and but all of them will have a hoop. So that's my little demonstration today. If you have any questions, just leave comments. And it's been a pleasure spending some time with you today, and hopefully you watch another Indigenous Insights Live. And so long from the room.